No, the old junkies cars cost $12,000. Like our car cost $5,000. That's ridiculous, and it's a 97. These are from the 40s, and they cost 12. It's just amazing, completely inaccessible. And the reason I'm pointing out the poverty so much, and we'll click through here to see some of the local crafts and artisans, I just wanted to see this because in spite of their great oppression and poverty, their spirit is alive. They have joy, they make beautiful things, they celebrate life, whether it's handicrafts and woodwork or paintings or what have you. But the poverty, and this is just the tourist town that none of the locals can afford to actually go to and hang out at because it costs $20 cab ride to get there, which again, is a month's salary. But the thing that blew me away the most about the poverty, not just that it existed, because you hear about these things on television, you read about them in the newspaper and mission reports, but the exceeding generosity. We were treated like royalty there, and we noticed that we weren't the only ones. It wasn't just because we were visiting from the States. People were inviting each other home for dinner. People were inviting guests visiting to the meetings that were being held that I was speaking at. And they were inviting them home and feeding them beautiful, sumptuous meals in their humble little homes. And you'll see the interiors of those in just a few minutes. Of course, we came to the church. That's their, can you go back, can you see that slide at all? Their children's area is a carport. That's where they have their children's Sabbath school. They do not have materials. They sing songs, they tell stories, and the kids sit still and pay attention and are perfectly amused and involved and happy to be there. Blew me away. They don't have anything to work with. But still, somehow, with their passion for God and their joy in Jesus, they keep these little kids excited about the Lord. Before the meeting every night, these people would get together and pray. The gentleman in his notes were up like 2 slides back. And then they would sit outside the church for the meetings because the building is actually about a fourth the size of this one. And the capacity, was 2 or 3 times that, just in their basic membership, and then the guests that were coming to the meetings. So they would come and sit on these horribly hard wooden benches for as long as the meeting would run. I was really touched because God used me in a way that I wasn't prepared to be used. I didn't know I could be used. I've never worked with a translator. My Spanish is very poor. I still know Spanish. I had to use it a lot since about 3 people I met the entire time actually spoke fluent English. But people praying here helped me work with this translator and helped him too. The gentleman right there, thank you. That man used to be a translator back in the day before he retired, but he hasn't translated in many, many years. And yet God brought all his English back, and he translated beautifully. He heard what I was saying, got the grasp, and Vincente communicated this message to the people, and they responded in such a powerful way. The second night I was there, I gave a call. I just felt that, the message was strong enough, and the Lord was calling people's hearts to come forward and commit their life to Him for the first time for the people that were new guests. You don't usually give a call the first night of a meeting, a series of meetings. Or the second night of a series of meetings. But it just was on my heart, and I said, if the Lord's calling your heart, don't wait. It doesn't cost you anything. You have nothing to lose. You give Him your life and see what He does with it. And if you don't like it, you can take it back. It's a no-risk investment. Boy, is it worth a try. And they came forward. They came forward by this chorus. Some of the girls in this picture, or the kids in this picture, always wanted to come and hang out and connect. And I got to talk with a lot of people, and I got to pray with a lot of people. And that's the most powerful thing you can do. You can preach and teach and share and give, but praying with somebody provides a connection to their heart and the heart of God like nothing else. That's the church family, outside at night. All there working their long days, coming to the meeting from long distances and staying for 2 or 3 hours as they have the song services and preliminaries and then the meeting, visiting to follow. Just the dedication of people to God, to the church, to being part of this whole series was phenomenal. Now, I told you a little bit about the hospitality. We're sitting inside of a little blurry photo of Jesus, inside of one of their poor little homes. See all these little kids here? They were so sweet and so welcoming. And they and their families would prepare a lovely meal for us, probably several days' pay to buy this big 3-foot fish, quite gorgeous. And How many people are at that table eating? Just 2. Dos. Ooh. Solamente dos, because they wanted to make sure we had enough. The whole family sat there and watched us eat. And the little tiny kids, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids, they're hungry. They've been watching this food cook, smelling it cook, but they just sat there. Are you liking it? Are you having enough? Oh, have some more mango. Let us bring you some special juice from the kitchen. They were so self-sacrificing. It just absolutely astounded me. And this is with the dirt floors, the wooden walls, and you can keep clicking, Michelle. And this is them just sitting there as a group, singing songs to us, watching us eat, telling us they loved us. The walls were peeling. The dirt was just falling from the walls. And the floors, there was no plumbing in this house. And yet they felt, you know what, I love these people enough. I'm not too ashamed of my home to bring them into it. I'm going to show them kindness anyway. Just recently I was thinking of inviting people home, and I was like, man, I haven't had a chance to mop my floor since I've been back. It's pretty frightening. And my house is filthy, and I'm not sure I have anything in the house worth fixing. And you know what? It shouldn't matter. There's nothing more honoring than being invited to someone's home for a meal. You feel so cared about. It doesn't happen much in our culture. We're all just too darn busy. We're afraid our house isn't good enough, but they just kept inviting. They invited us to play baseball. That would be Dan, to play baseball. We used to watch from the sidelines, and just so gracious. All the little kids got to play with the big kids, and anybody who wanted to jump on in and play. So accepting. And even the guy in the previous picture, the shorter guy, couldn't hear, couldn't speak, and he had no shoes, as many of the guys on the team didn't. But they let him play, and they would just kind of wave at him if they needed to communicate something to him. Such sweet little guys. This is a refrigerator. Did y'all know that was a refrigerator? Did anybody know that was a refrigerator? I didn't know that was a refrigerator. When we went to these people's home, I said, Dan, what is that box? That's an old-fashioned refrigerator. So we had to take a picture to show you how primitive things are. And that's for the people who have refrigerators. Just very, very simple home. And yet they gave us their best. They gave us their coconuts. They gave us their food. They gave us their time. The giving and the sacrificing nature of these people was so beautiful. It blew me away. This girl right here has a really special story. I had spoken a sermon on Thursday about the Sabbath and how clear God is from Genesis through Revelation, that He has chosen 7 days a day of rest from our labor as best as possible. Some jobs obviously don't allow for that life-sustaining work. Please, doctors, don't leave the hospitals. But she was in tourism, and she heard that sermon, and she was just deeply convicted about her relationship with God and how He's not going to hate us or reject us, but it's kind of like a relationship boundary. You know, when you're in a relationship with someone, you have expectations. It's kind of like that. It's a symbolic relationship boundary. And she came up to me afterwards, and she said, you know, my husband left 3 years ago. He's been in America, hasn't been in touch, has no intention of coming back. I'm all alone raising my son.